Hello. It's Tuesday, and everybody knows what Tuesday means. It's time for some tailored love. Rob Morales, RCO Network here with Miss Taylor Wood. Please welcome, say hi, Miss Taylor.
Hello. Welcome back.
Yeah, she's here. She's back here again on a Tuesday talking about love and relationships and the things that make us connected on a very intimate level. Not us, not Taylor and I, but just people in general.
Just in general.
We're here to talk about everything relationship-wise. So.
Yep. Everything in between.
Everything in between. So if you're watching us here on Tuesday, give us some likes and loves. We love the hearts, but we like the likes too. So if you want to drop those likes in there, give us some comments and questions as we're going along. We love the commentary, especially if you want to just ask about some of the things that Taylor's doing, especially her clothing line. Miss Taylor, would you please demonstrate what you have on today?
I sure can. So this is called the Blue Blush Crop. It's from Think Pretty Boutique.
Here, I'm going to go single there. There it goes. Do you feel
Cute
that?
little crop top. We've got some fun decor. Oh, let me turn this way.
Yeah. They got like a kind of a cutout back,
Yeah.
bowish something.
Super cute. You can wear it with so many different things. Obviously, wearing it with jeans now. You can wear it with a skirt. You can wear it with so many different things.
So if you head over there to shopthinkpretty.com, we're going to go ahead there now. You can find this top amongst other photos of Taylor in very scantily clad outfits. You know, she's just fun like that. She likes to dress down and dress up.
She's quirky like that.
She's more on the down than up. So, but if you go to the top section, which I will go to now, you'll find this particular item here on the website. It's called Blue Blush Crop, $39.88.
There she is. And
Does that include shipping?
It does not. If you spend over $50 at the shop, you get free shipping. And then if you bundle 2 items or more together, you get 15% off your whole order. So it's better to buy more than just one.
So yeah, I did see her. She came in a couple weeks ago and was wearing the May lace crop. I thought I found that very alluring.
Yes,
You
love
know?
that one.
Taylor tends to wear clothes in the very hot summer that
Yes.
are very winter-esque.
I love to wear long
kinda-
sleeves in the winter, in the summer, apparently 110 degree weather.
So go ahead and head over there to shopthinkpretty.com for information about purchasing the items that Taylor wears herself.
Yes, I also have a fun little announcement about Think Pretty Boutique.
Go ahead.
Designing is one of my passions. It's always been. So I think I'm going to start bringing in designing into Think Pretty. I used to have an old business called In Distress by T, where I would go vintage shopping, basically thrift shopping, and find old vintage Levi's or whatever I found cool and then distress them myself. So I think I'm going to try and tie that into Think Pretty as well and start designing some really fun, cool pieces. So keep your eyes out for those, and hopefully they'll be up in the next few weeks.
Or just go to the website and troll.
Yeah,
And
just
troll
go
all the way.
website, Instagram, whatever you like.
What's your Instagram?
It is thinkpretty.boutique.
Oh, it's not. You don't want to give your personal.
Oh, I can give my personal. It's Taylor with 2 O's, Wood with 3 O's. Go follow.
Do not steal her Instagram, by the way.
Do not.
Somebody's already tried that.
Yes, somebody has made a fake account of me before, so let's not have a
do that.
repeat of that.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
So anyway, we're here to talk about relationships, Miss.
Yes.
And you had a very
into
interesting topic. We talked about blind love. How blind is love, do you think?
I think it's extremely blind, but you never
really?
realize it until you're out of the relationship.
Why is that?
Because you're blind to it. You don't see it. And then you start to see it after you get out of the relationship and you start a relationship with another person.
So I've always had this rule, right? I've had a rule that's called the 3-month rule. Mm-hmm. You really, truly don't know somebody until after the 3rd month of dating. You know why?
Why? Let's hear why.
You're supposed to ask why. So people get into relationships, and it's all about the fun. It's exciting. It's new. It's different. You know, it's not the old relationships, which we'll talk about in a little bit too, I think. But it's just all new. It's all nuanced. It's very topical. There's nothing serious going on. You know, this physical stuff could be fun. You know, it's different.
Right.
But I think people, once they start getting comfortable, you know, usually after about that 3rd month, that's when they start revealing themselves. You know, especially if they had that one joke you were like busting out laughing with that first time you heard it. And now you've heard the same joke about 20 different times. You're like, you know what, it was funny the first time. But
It's kind of getting old now.
yeah, it's like, is that your only go-to joke? You know, and when you start pulling back the curtain and start seeing the real person, that's when they start kind of becoming themselves. And I think when you reveal that person, sometimes, you know, they're not comfortable with that. A lot of people I think like the show, but they don't like to show what's behind the curtain.
Right. So you feel like you typically see people's true colors after the 3rd month, and you become a little bit more like you're taking off the glasses, basically, or you're putting on the glasses, I guess, in that sense. So you're starting to see them for them real, like their real selves.
Absolutely, and it goes back to that. I think when you are very attractive at the beginning, there's a lot of things to be attracted because it's all new, and I think you are sometimes blinded by that. And I think Lindsay is basically saying super blinded by that. If you're blinded by that, you when people become themselves, that's when you really find out what their true motivations are, their direction in life, their passion is. Somebody says, I'm very passionate. And then after about 3 months, you're like, well, where's all that passion?
Yes.
So I think at the heart of it really comes down to expectations and standards. Basically, what are your standards? What is your checklist?
My checklist.
Because we've checked you on your checklist before.
Yes, let's hop right back into that. So my checklist.
So what is your ideal guy?
My ideal guy is somebody who is passionate. He's respectful. It's stupid, but I'm very old-fashioned. I like it when guys hold the door open for me. I like it when they don't have to pay for all of our meals or anything, but like it's nice when they offer. So if a guy's like, we go out to dinner, they invite me to dinner, they invite me on the date, and then we're left at the end with a check, and then he's kind of like looking at me like, are you going to put your card down? Or like, do you want to split it? It's kind of like, I don't know. I'm just very old school.
And that's the thing too. I think that, with, women empowerment and stuff too. From my take, women want to equalize things. So equalizing things means everything equal. Like for instance, paying for a bill.
Yeah.
Is there just an automatic expectation the guy pays a bill, even if you ask them out? Or do you even ask people out?
I particularly don't ask people out unless we've gone out on a few dates before. But like if I just meet somebody, I'm not going to be like, hey, like,
well, how can you go on a date if they haven't asked you?
Then you don't. You move on to the next. I don't know. I'm very old-fashioned in that sense. Like, I like the guy to put in the effort. Like, I like them to ask me on dates. I like them to call me first. I'm very old school in that way, I would say.
Do you think it's more old school or just the insecurity?
Because a little bit of both.
I mean, if you like a guy, why not approach him and just say, hey, I find these qualities in you attractive. I don't know, would you want to go on a date with me? Why is that so hard for women to do?
I feel like, why can't they do that? Like, if I'm the one who has to do that and typically it's the guy who's supposed to be doing that, does that just mean they're not interested in me? Like, I am scared of the rejection, of course, but I do think girls do so much. I feel like this is the one thing guys can do to impress a girl is put in the effort,
can put on makeup.
Put on the first foot. Exactly. Like,
I can put on lipstick too.
yeah, I mean, you could, but
and I look fabulous.
You would absolutely look fabulous.
Absolutely.
I think you should put on a Think Pretty shirt for the next episode. We can twin in our little crop tops.
Do you have a large? Let me see. Let me go back to
I do.
Can I order mine?
Yeah.
Sure. But I mean, everything wanting to be equal, right? I mean, you want equal pay. You want as women, and this is part of the movement. You want everything to be equalized, and doesn't that come along with it though?
It does. I feel like, obviously, I love equality with women, and I fully support that. But I do feel like there are some things that the guy can still take care of, like the tab. They can take care of the tab. Not saying they have to every single time, but if you are trying to impress a girl and you ask her out to a very fancy restaurant, it's kind of the assumption that you're going to pay for the food.
Well, then it's a guy's assumption that other things are going to happen after the food.
But why? It's just paying for food.
It's the same expectation as you expecting the guy to pay for the food.
Yeah, but sex is a lot different than paying for food.
It's free.
Yes. Well, technically not.
Lindsay says just ask him because it goes a long way. You should ask a guy out. That's okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've definitely asked guys to hang out before. Like, do you want to hang out, or we could go get drinks or something?
But some guys are just like flat. They're just like, I mean, they're kind of like dogs. And I would equate myself to dogs, and sometimes I don't get it, And you don't see the signals. You don't see the signs. You know what I mean? You could be flirting all day, and I mean, I'm so caught up in what I'm doing that maybe I missed that.
I guess it kind of goes both ways. If you guys are both putting in the effort of like, hey, like, I want to hang out with you sometime. I say that to a guy, and they're like, yeah, I would love to hang out. I'm like, well, what would you want to do? And then like, maybe we could grab dinner. Like, if it goes both ways, I guess. Like, I'm not afraid to do that at all. I mean, obviously, rejection is definitely scary, but I'll ask a guy to hang out. That's no biggie.
Well, guys get rejected all the time, and so I think we're used to it, and I think it's harder for women And I think that's biological.
Yeah,
anyway,
for sure.
And it's not necessarily cultural that women do ask, but I think in a sense where we're all trying to equalize everything, like things are blind.
For sure.
That it's all equal fair play, on both sides. When the check comes, it's like, well, I wanted to hang out with him. He may have asked, but shouldn't you just offer to pay?
Oh, I mean, I would for sure still do the whole grab my
grab.
purse, take out my wallet and my card. Like, do you want to split it? And then that's when if they're like, no, I got it. I'm like, okay.
But what if does that tell you something too? Does that tell you okay, so there's three outcomes to that, right?
Yeah.
You start reaching for your purse and like, hey, do you want me to pay for this? There's either oh yeah, you go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
Oh no, I got this. Or hey, let's split the check. Is there different ways and different meanings behind that?
Yes. So in my opinion, the best way to go about it is when I grab my purse and take out my wallet, do you want to split it? And then they're like, no, let me take care of it. I'm like, yes, that's what I like. But then if they're like, I start taking out my purse and then do you want to split it? And they're like, yeah, let's split it. I'm like, okay, at least they're not making me pay for the whole thing. I would prefer.
Maybe I shouldn't have bought that, lobster.
Yes, I'm like, maybe I wouldn't have gotten those 3 appetizers and 5 martinis, but thanks a lot.
Why eating 3 appetizers?
Why not?
Oh,
just kidding. But if they were to say no, you can go ahead and take care of it, I'd be like, I'm going to run to the restroom really quick and just dip out. Run away.
And we're kind of veering off as far as standards and expectations, but do you use kind of your femininity, your sexuality to kind of sway them to do that? Because I think a woman's sexuality is kind of her power, or at least her equalizer of that.
Oh,
power.
It 100% is.
And when you emasculate that power, or get rid of that power for women, you made it all equal. You don't necessarily have that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
As far as being able to control a guy. And I think that there's control on both sides. And I think both are trying to manipulate whatever they're trying to get. Because we're all just egocentric and very selfish beings, period.
Yes.
So we both come into a date or both come into a relationship with our own mindset, our own expectations of how the relationship is supposed to be or the circumstances. I think our biggest failure is that we don't really communicate that are taught.
Yes.
So is that an attractive thing to you too? Is the communication part?
It is, for sure. I love a guy who can put in the effort, and that kind of takes it back to the checklist and standards and everything. I do prefer an alpha. I've said it in past episodes before. I do dominant men and boys that present themselves as alpha. So that is a standard for me. If we are going to go out to dinner, it proves that you're dominant and you're the alpha, rather than if I'm having to pay for the check, I'm like, then I feel like I'm wearing the pants in the relationship. Why can't you afford to, or not even afford to? That's fine. If you have $50 left in your account and you really want to impress this girl, freaking pay the $50. I know a lot of girls probably won't agree with that, but that's just the type of man that I like, is definitely the dominant and the alpha.
Do you have any insight on this?
I don't know. That's just the way I am with it. I like the guy to prove themselves as they wear the pants. I want us both to be successful. I've said it in the past episodes. I want us both to be successful, but some things.
But you don't think a guy would want to control that success?
No, he would. But that's.
Would you allow him to do that?
Yeah.
If he said, you know what, I see you making all this money. I don't want you to do this anymore. This is probably, like I said.
Oh.
Hey, I need to feel like I'm on top of it.
Oh no, no, we both can be successful. If somebody's gonna try and tell me no, you're making more money than me, then cut it out. I'd be like, okay, bye. That's your fault then.
You need to step it up.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, okay, that's not my fault. Go ahead and go and make more money then. Go find another job. I don't care.
So, but again, going back to expectations.
Yes.
So, I think expectations go back down to the person, and I think entering into a relationship with expectations, and this is maybe it's advice, I don't know. But I think if you walk in with a checklist, again, the relationship's doomed to fail.
Oh, 100%.
Because hey, I'm going to set you up on this platter. You have to reach this bar in order for me to date you and be with you long term. Mm-hmm. That's what that checklist symbolizes. And if you meet these standards, I'm getting rid of you.
Yeah, but do you think in certain situations you become blind to some things that they don't meet on the checklist? Say, oh, well, they've got a great personality, great smile, great eyes, but I don't like this, this, and this about them. So are you just going to ignore the cons and go with the pros, or what do you do in that situation?
Well, as far as dislikes, there's always going to be things that I don't necessarily coincide with. Mm-hmm. There's always dislikes for everything.
Yeah, there always will be.
And I guess I've challenged myself in trying to understand that, because we all have different expectations. And the way I think in relationships in the past is that I had kind of held to those expectations and wanting it for myself. And I think at the end of it, they haven't met it. And then that's where I became worried and became distant. And I did things to kind of damage that, wanting the person to leave me versus me leaving the relationship. You know, and I think that's a very feminine trait. And I think that's probably why there was a lot of friction there too, because it's very passive aggressive.
Right.
You know, if I in my last relationship before, you know, right now, I became very assertive and said, hey, no, I don't want this. And I was very emotionally kind of caught up in the relationship. And I set a standard for myself. I don't want this anymore. And I kept finding the same kind of issues in the future relationship. So there's obviously something deeper that was attractive in that capacity.
Right.
And so, like, there's always going to be dislikes, yes.
Yes.
But understanding why they're dislikes, I think, is vastly more important than trying to just accept them.
So you had relationship PTSD.
Did I?
Yes, that's what it's sounding like to me.
Oh, possibly.
Because it carried over into the next relationship. You're like,
So is that
well,
what,
I like this thing, but I don't like
so
this.
So this is a new term for me.
Relationship
Explain
PTSD.
this relationship PTSD for our audience. We have about 7 people.
Yes. All right. So relationship
boy.
PTSD is something I feel like most people get after relationships without even realizing it, because, you know, it is kind of a newer term and more people are bringing more awareness to it.
I think it's a Taylor Wood term.
I think it might be a Taylor Wood term, honestly. But let me shed some light on it, okay?
Like
so,
situationship. I didn't know what the shit that was.
Sneaky links. We've got a lot of new terms in here.
She makes up a lot of
That's
stuff.
what I'm here for. So the relationship PTSD is something I feel like everybody experiences after a relationship, and they just don't even realize it. So say you just get out of a relationship. It was the best relationship you've ever had, but it just ended because you guys weren't on the same page. Whatever the reason it ended, you're going to carry that into your next relationship. You're going to start comparing this new person to your last person, and you don't even realize you're doing so. Like, you're going to be like, oh, well, I loved it when so-and-so did this and that, but this guy doesn't do it. So then you're going to start comparing, and then eventually you're just going to get out of a relationship with all of this PTSD from failed experiences, because you don't know what you like, you don't know what your expectations and standards are, and then you just don't want a relationship anymore. You're scared to get in a new one. It's not even that you're scared, actually. It's just more the fact of, I don't want another failed relationship. I don't want to talk to somebody for all these months and start, you know, getting close with them, bonding with them, and then it just going to the shitter because of the same reasons as the last one.
Do you find it like in the relationships that you have that, you know, you take all the good aspects of every relationship in the past and you apply them to the new relationship, even though those past relationships, there was a lot of bad stuff and that's why you're not in it anymore. But for some reason, all the good stuff tends to carry, and then that becomes the new checklist for the new person in your life.
Yes, because you become blind to so much when you're in a relationship. You really do. Like, things that I didn't even think I would like in a person, like, happened in my last relationship. And then, you know, when I'm starting to talk to these new guys, I'm like, well, he doesn't do this. Like, I liked it when my ex did that, and he's not doing this. And I'm like, wait, what happened to me? You don't even realize it. So I feel like relationship PTSD is a huge thing, and nobody talks about it or realizes it. Like, I have no interest in starting a new relationship right now, like, because of my past relationship, which ended in February. Okay, like, I haven't gone on any solo dates with any guys just because, like, I'm traumatized. I really am. I'm like, you put so much of yourself into somebody, and you have to start a whole new checklist. You have to start whole new standards, like, and it's still not even going to be good enough because you're always going to compare it to your last relationship.
Well, Lindsay calls it psychological influence.
There's the smart word for it.
Or PTSD.
Yeah, whatever the word is for it, everybody experiences, like, whether it's the best relationship you've ever had or the worst relationship, everybody is going to go through it, whether they'll admit it or not. I feel like it affects everybody. Do you think you've experienced that before?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I've learned that I can't do that. You know, that everybody's going to be different. They bring in their own values. And I had to really retrain my brain to focus in on those values versus all the stuff I disliked.
So how did you do that?
Focusing on the value. So you basically take that list of things that you like and don't like. Right. And you try to understand why you don't like them, because there's usually a deeper meaning why you don't like them. It's negative or maybe not progressive in the relationship, because everything, I hate equating things to bad and good.
Right.
You know, I like to think about things. Okay, so is there an opportunity here in this list of things that I like and don't like, and why am I getting to the point where I are doing a list? Even reflective upon that, like why am I getting to the point I'm doing a list?
Like we shouldn't have to. we should just know.
Yeah, and so you do draft this list, whatever, and because there is something in the relationship or something with the person that you're concerned about, afraid of, or that you're willing to let go. You know, and if it's truly something that you're invested in, I think you're ever going to get to that list ever.
Right.
But if you do, then it's reflective on those, well, why am I not connecting with this person despite these dislikes? Is there something that is hitting me emotionally that I need to focus in on these dislikes, because I'm using these dislikes as a reason to break up, and I'm trying to figure out if those reasons are big enough that outweigh the positives or the likes to do that.
And why do we have to do that? Like, our brain should just know if do you want to be with this person or not. Like, you shouldn't have to convince yourself to stay with somebody or convince yourself to break up with somebody.
Well, I mean, I'm talking to you for the length of time that we've been talking. I think, again, recognizing that men tend to be very distant emotionally. They're not very articulate.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that I think our failure as a culture is to really train our boys in how to be men. And that's very absent. You know, we have a culture that's really developed around women and women nurturing boys, but they also teach them how to be women.
I feel like chivalry is very dead because of that.
Yeah, it's just part of our culture, but it's a failure of our culture to recognize that and be supportive of that. And how do we do that? Lindsay says relationships take work. Love and lust isn't enough.
No, completely. That's so true. That's exactly true. And a lot of people just think it's all rainbows and butterflies and relationships. And then when the hard stuff happens, you're like, well, shit, here we go.
Well, the sense of romanticism, I think, is just within the last 200 years, you know, and that's all been emphasized by marketing. You know, the buying the ring, falling in love, you know, purchasing the house, purchasing the car, doing all this stuff is very convincing marketing strategies.
Yes.
And because we grew up with that, it becomes an expectation all its own. To buy more shit.
Yeah.
We are so like addicted to purchasing and buying and being manipulated from kids at a young age to believe these things. And then when we grow up, they become expectations for another person.
Yeah. So how do you view relationships like in our like my age right now? Like relationships are just so, chivalry is so dead. There's chivalry, never heard of it, basically.
Well, I call it the red pill society. If it doesn't give me pleasure, I need to get rid of it. It's the avoidance of pain entirely.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to explore or continue to work on a relationship because, you know what, I can just swipe and find somebody else.
Exactly.
On both sides of it.
That's why it's so hard, and that's why I have the worst relationship PTSD, because it's like, well, shit, what am I supposed to do?
I don't know. Is there any men out there? Is there any men out there that really find themselves very secure with their emotions and understand themselves and are able to communicate and occasionally ignore Taylor on...
Just occasionally.
Just occasionally. Give her enough to kind of stay in there, but just ignore her when she needs it.
Yes.
Because she's very passionate. Anyway, just kidding. So.
Here I am.
But anyway, Taylor is free. She's single and not willing to mingle, but she will take a free drink.
I will take a free drink. That's for sure. That is for sure.
Get out of that. Anyway.
Anyways.
But so what have we learned so far, Miss?
Is
love blind?
Love is Love is blind. Love is totally blind. There is actually a Netflix show called Love is Blind. Go check it out.
I think that's why we started the show today. But,
yeah.
But I think the center of discussion really is about understanding yourself.
Yes.
You know, love is not necessarily blind. It takes work. You
become blind to not the love, but to the person.
I think you become blind to the work it takes to be in a relationship.
Yes, exactly.
You know, because everything is just like the red pill society. I keep going back to that. It's like, if it doesn't give me an instant gratification, if it doesn't make me feel better instantly, if this person can't make me feel better, I'm going to go find somebody that can.
Right.
You know, which is, you know, going and hoeing yourself out in Vegas, for instance. Whoever does that, I don't know.
Yeah, who would do that? That's ridiculous.
We don't like those people. Just kidding.
I did not do that.
Did somebody say you? I don't remember anybody saying
Sounded
you.
very targeted, Robert.
We don't share too much.
Too much. Maybe we should.
Oh, like what?
Oh, what? Oh, I don't know. No, never mind.
But as far as love, I think the sense of romanticism is it really kind of blinds us all to the fact that it does require work. It does require communication and different ways to communicate. Like women, in my experience, are very passive aggressive. They want you to see and understand them like I'm a mind reader.
Yeah. No, totally. Like if you text a girl like, oh, is it okay if I cancel these plans or something and go do this instead? And they're like, sure, that's fine. They don't mean it's fine. They mean you better get your ass over here and go to these plans or we're toast, basically.
Like I think men need to be more direct. Like, hey, I'm going to invite you out and we're going to have dinner. And, I kind of expect sex out of it. But if it doesn't happen, it's okay. Because I really want to get to know you out of it. But, if that happens, hey.
That's another issue. Boys should not expect sex out of girls. So what if they want to pay for a dinner? Like if a guy's going to pay for dinner, that does not mean I'm going to sleep with him. It absolutely does not mean I'm going to sleep with him.
How much money do they have?
Well, no, just kidding.
I think I know Taylor a little bit too much. But no, I mean, I even at that, if like, hey, I'm very interested in you. I want to take you out on dinner. If sex happens, that'd be great. If not, then, maybe we can communicate. And I find you very interesting, and not to be upset that somebody would ask you that. That's the other reaction. Be like, how dare? I mean, it's kind of built in the culture a little bit, or at least the subculture is like, if I'm taking you out, then there's kind of a expectation of something to happen.
And that's why I'm scared to go on dates.
But guys don't do that. Guys have a hard time in communicating. But also women too. I think there's some room for growth to be like, hey, for women, not to be so passive, by the way, and say, you know what, I'm going on dinner with you. If you expect sex, that's not going to happen. I do want to get to know you a little bit better, but if sex your expectation, then I don't know if I can go out with you on this date.
See, I'm very open in that sense. Like that sounds like something I would say. Like if I'm going out to the bars or the clubs or something and I'm having a few drinks and a guy's like buying me drinks all night long, I'm going to say, hey, that's awesome if you want to buy me drinks. That's wonderful, but I'm not going home with you tonight, just so you know. And they'll either say, no, like I don't expect you to, or they'll say, okay, no, yeah, that's fine. But you can obviously tell they're like crying on the inside. And then eventually they, go away. So,
but men tend to be very divisive. So they'll say something, they'll represent something verbally, but their true intent isn't there either. And so at the end of the day, men have to make women feel safe.
No, for sure.
I think there is a sense of vulnerability built in the biology where if you don't feel safe, then you're not going to be able to open up and open up, meaning emotionally and physically too. Because if a man makes you feel safe, and if they are showing their true value, if they're strong, assertive, then you would naturally just open up anyway. They would find them very attractive, and you'd probably want to have sex with them because that's how we're biologically driven.
Right.
And men don't understand that, and women don't understand that either. I think that's a failure in our culture to really understand the dynamics of why we're dating and why we want to be together with an intimate person.
Yeah.
And it is to continue our species. That is blatantly the truth of what we're here to do.
Whether we know it or not, like our brain is just programmed that way.
Our subconscious, our brain is just built that way.
Yes.
And so it's understanding that and be able to communicate that. That's where our biggest failure in our culture is.
I completely agree. And I feel like both parties can definitely do a better job at communicating what they want or what their expectations are going into a date. So what you were saying, if a guy was like, hey, I want to take you out to dinner, I want to take care of it, but just so you know, like I don't expect sex out of this. If that happens, that's amazing. But if not, that's fine. And that's amazing. Like if every guy said that, I'd be like, here I am, boys. Like
So one way to have sex with Taylor is to
just be open and honest, okay?
Well, we're trying. I'm trying to find her a date. A good, strong, sturdy man who will take care of you in the days and let you be free.
I talk to men, okay? I'm not a loser. I
don't say you're a loser.
I've got a lineup, but I've got the relationship PTSD. So they're like, hey, you want to go get some food? I'm like, not really. You're cute, but not really.
I mean, and physical attraction has a lot to do with that too, right? I mean, and you're not necessarily talking to somebody unless they're physically fit.
Yeah, well,
to a certain degree.
No, I mean, I've talked to guys that aren't that cute.
Now, let me see.
Show me. Let me see the proof.
I want to see your Bumble. I want to see who you're talking to.
Oh, God.
You said you had Bumble, right?
I actually deleted Bumble, but I still have Hinge.
Why? What's Hinge? I haven't been on that one.
Hinge it's kind of the same thing as Bumble. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing as Bumble, except Bumble, the girls get to talk first. But with Hinge, you can see who likes you, and then you can comment on people's like photos. basically. I don't know. I like Hinge better than Bumble, I think. I suck at dating apps. Like, I like to go swipe on people, and I like to,
Well, the hard part about dating apps is really finding out about a person in text messages.
And I don't like that. I'm so much more of an in-person type of girl. So it's like the furthest I get with a guy on a dating app is like, hey, or like, the intro message. And then I'm like, on to the next. And I just like to swipe, and I like to see what's out there.
How do you assess somebody from an app or just a couple texts?
Yes, it's so hard.
There's a certain creativity that, when I was dating too, there's a certain creativity that you have to like think about and what kind of response. It's not just for a guy, you just don't send a dick pic out there and expect that somebody's going to, but there are women that do, but don't expect that it's going to be a lasting relationship.
Right.
I guess really identifying, is love truly blind is identifying what you want first.
Right.
Do you want the hookups or do you want the relationship? Because your mind will automatically go there. Mm-hmm. If you want a relationship, your subconscious will be programmed to look for a relationship. Doesn't matter what the other circumstances are, and you will manifest and do these things, take these actions into building a relationship. But if you just want the hookup, if you're 22 and you want to go to Vegas and party as a guy, that's what you're going to find.
Yep.
And I think with your mind frame right now that you're kind of in that party mode, you're very protective.
Yeah.
And I think if there was a strong, secure person that you felt that there was a long lasting relationship with, you'd probably open up.
That's what I just don't know. Like, I've met some great guys. Yeah, I've met some great guys, but it's like, at the same time, I'm having so much fun being single. So I'm like, do I really want to go into another relationship?
Well, again, for a girl, it's easier because you get free drinks.
Yes. It's so nice being single.
You just wear your, hold on.
I wear my Think Pretty boutique.
You just wear your blue blush crop.
Blue blush crop or the May blue lace crop.
Let me go and put that back up there. You wear your blue blush crop here for $39.88. Hold on. Wear your blue blush crop for $39.88, or wear your May blue lace up crop. Which I found very alluring, by the way. I did like that one.
So maybe I should wear that one out more. That was actually my first time ever wearing it. Yeah, here.
She wore this denim jacket last week, and it was very warm looking.
Yeah, a little toasty, definitely a little toasty.
She just wore it off the shoulders, but anyway. So shop here at shopthinkpretty.com for some of Taylor's items and things that she's wearing here on the show.
I'm going to be having a big sale soon.
Really? Why? Mm-hmm. You're getting ready for some inventory?
Yes. So once I start designing and then getting that stuff up, I'm going to be having a big sale.
So tune in for that. Go to shopthinkpretty.com for more information. But today's the end of the show.
Oh, wow. That was quick.
It's been 30 minutes.
Flies by every time, I swear.
Oh, absolutely. So, again, if you have any comments or questions you want to fill in, tune in every week on a Tuesday. We're going to be next week. I think we have a special guest joining us. Yay. Possibly.
Potentially.
Cross
your fingers.
And we'll be inviting more guests, talking about relationships every Tuesday around 3:30, 4 o'clock. Just kind of look out for us, and we'll be there. Yeah, I bumped
Dinged your mic.
So, any last words, Miss, before we head out?
Well, I'll keep you guys posted on my dating life. See if anything progresses by next week, and we'll go from there.
I can't wait for the story. So, Rob Morales, RCO Network. We're tuning out. ShopThinkPretty.com. Go to the website. We'll see you guys next week.
Next week, baby. Bye.
Laters.